Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the We Know Love Island podcast here at WeKnowDatingShows.com. We are here talking about Love Island USA Season 8, Episodes 8 and 9. I am, of course, Kirsten MacInnis, joined as always by the great and powerful Brian Scally. Scally, how are you?
Oh, hello. I'm so good. Very excited to be here. Excited I didn't get a pushed back a day by any technical delays. So glad we're right on time and giving what we promised to the viewers.
We would never do the viewers like how Love Island does them. That's our whole thing. So I'm glad that we can live and sleep at night knowing that we
Exactly.
are, if anything, under promising and over delivering.
Yeah, I think that selfishly, I guess I'll bring it up. Kind of worked out for our scheduling. Kind of nice that it happened on the night of
Yep.
the podcast. We get to talk about the results immediately. But I understand why many people were frustrated.
Well, I'm just glad people actually got to vote because on Tuesday
True.
night, everyone was like, I can't vote. I can't vote. It's sending me a code, but I'm not getting a code. I can't vote. I can't vote. And so I'm glad that they extended it so people could vote. And you're right. I'm so glad that we get to talk about it right after it all happens because it's like, yeah, sure, there's going to be probably dates in the next episode, but I would rather us get to talk about an elimination and a result rather than like an elimination in the first episode and then episode 9 turns out to be kind of like more dead like.
Yeah. And I would say for some of these couples, maybe one couple in particular, you could kind of pick any random episode and the ending is going to be different than the next day's episode.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of like, wow, where do we go from here for one or two couples? But I mean, that would have happened regardless of when the results came in. I just think it's nice to cleanly tie up some people's stories and maybe theorize on where some things are going,
Yes.
joke about some of the less serious things, break down some of the more serious things. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited because I've been doing the dailies. I feel like a lot of times the dailies I'm coming in, I don't really have fully formed opinions yet. I'm trying to figure out what I even really think about all of this. But then normally by the time I get to talk to you, I kind of know how I feel fully. And then you either agree or don't agree. And then we get to have like a great discourse. And I think the discourse is always better for it. And so I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on all of this.
I was going to say I love discourse. I don't know if that's always true, but I am always down to have discourse with you, especially about Love Island.
It's, some people haven't been able to figure out how to respectfully discourse with all the people in their life. But I feel like that's something that we have had on lock for a long time. And I really appreciate that about our friendship. So listen, we're not in a situation like some of these dummies on this island.
Dummies is right based on how many of them have been acting. I feel like we've been talking big picture for a couple minutes now, but there are
Yes.
so many storylines that I want to dive into this week. And I guess a couple of them are a little bit intermingled, but I think we can you do our usual. Let's talk about the couples. Kirsten, do you have a
Yes.
couple that you want to tackle immediately?
I think you should get the first choice.
Ooh, I think that we should talk about what was kind of a clean story in that it's compact into one through line, even though it got a little messy there in the middle. Could we talk about Trinity and Bryce?
I would love to talk about Trinity and Bryce. I would like to first of all know, where do you lie on like your assessment of them as a couple? Do you see the romance? Do you think they're just friends? What do you believe is going on right now?
I think right now I would say I see the flirtments. Like I do think that there is some type of spark here. I think both of them had an initial hesitation, mainly due to their age, that they were not so sure. And so I think that put even the audience kind of in a question mark as to is this a romantic connection or is it a friendship connection? And I think as they have continued to grow their feelings, maybe my expectations have been growing a little bit more for them. I'm not yet, again, like betting on them, but I really like them.
Yeah, I really like them. I think that, what I've been saying the most is that I really think that it's more of a friendship vibe. But I think since we're here, I can provide a little bit more nuance. Everyone
Ooh.
knows I love nuance. I think that Bryce was feeling a little bit more towards Trinity at the start. I think after she slimed him in the Boss Bitch challenge, he took that really personally. I
Okay.
think that Bryce is very sensitive and does take things very personally. And it's something that we've seen a couple of times. And so I think that when that happened, he kind of backed off and was like, I am not going to make a fool of myself over this much younger woman. Like, she thinks I'm a joke, whatever. Like, we can be friends. We'll stay in the villa. We'll figure it out. But I think that, like, by him kind of pulling back, it made her realize that she does kind of like him a
Ooh.
bit. And then she's like wanting more intimacy, or not intimacy in like a
She's said
like
intimacy, but
intimacy sense, but
yeah.
like in a like affection and
Exactly.
just like to be feeling closer to him. And I think that that probably confuses him because he's like, well, why did she kind of shut me down earlier if that's not what she's doing
Right.
now? Leads him to have doubts. And that's why it's still sticking at more of a friendship vibe right now. But I do think they have the potential to grow. I've seen a lot of Nicolandria comparisons, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. Like, Nicolandria had all of those steamy hot kisses in the challenges and just kind of like a palpable sexual energy between them that I'm not seeing yet, but that's not me saying that it's impossible for it to
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, maybe it just there's a spark that really fires off in the end. But for right now, I feel like they're kind of a slow burn, whereas Nicolandria very much just all came together at once, even if there were a couple signs that the audience picked up on that they did not. So I am not quite there with the comparisons,
Yeah.
though I do see some potential. As you said, Bryce, not sure if he's going to embarrass himself over a much younger woman. So he decided that he's going to embarrass himself over a different, much younger woman this week.
Yes.
And, I don't think it was ideal. We'll get to it. But I think where we start out here with Bryce and Trinity assuring each other that they do really like each other, and Bryce saying things like what they have is not replaceable. I think it's pretty cute. I don't know. I'm not upset. Even if whatever the like outcome of this is, I like them together and I hope they stay on really good terms.
Yeah, 100%. I think Trinity is someone who it maybe took her like a couple of days to come out of her shell a little bit more. And now that we're getting to really see her personality, she makes me laugh all the time. I'm really glad to have her in the villa.
I think the biggest indicator for me is in, like you said, Trinity looking for more affection. She told us very clearly and told many of the men, including Bryce in the villa, she's not like big on making out. She's not necessarily big on affection early. And so the fact that she is asking Bryce, like, why aren't you kissing me more? Why aren't you showing me more affection? I do think Trinity's in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and she is going, if only like if she would talk to the men and he would talk to the women,
100%.
because she's talking to the women and they're like, no, he likes you. And he is talking to the men and they're like, yeah, we don't know. Maybe she likes you. Maybe she doesn't like you. And like, if they just swapped for like one conversation, everything could get sorted out so easily. But that is not what
Yeah.
happened. So
Does Zach hate Trinity?
hey,
Like,
that was weird because Zach specifically says, like, me, you, and Kayda have more fun as a 3 than when Trinity is there. And that felt targeted and personal and weird.
for me, like, I don't think it should be that shocking that, like, oh, when you're hanging out with essentially your best friend and your girlfriend, you personally have more fun. I'm sure if you asked Kayda, she has more fun when it's just you and Trinity and not Bryce. Like, I think this is
Yeah.
specific to you. And I don't know that he is realizing that. I think that Zach probably hears from Bryce more of the doubts because he's talking to like Bryce is talking to Trinity about all the good stuff, and then when he's not sure, he's not necessarily talking to Trinity about it. He's talking to Zach about it. So I think
Yeah.
Zach is probably like, all you tell me is how you're unsure and how you both are not each other's types and how this, and that. And so maybe Zach also doesn't like Trinity. I don't really feel like I have any established feeling for their relationship, but I did think it was kind of odd how much he tried to talk Bryce out of Trinity.
It was extreme. Like, he just kept saying it. And then it's like, well, not that anything bad ultimately happened, but he kind of played himself. There is also discussion online that perhaps production got mad at the Islanders for being not open to actually exploring, and that might have spurred all of what we're about to talk about. What do you think about that?
I definitely think it's possible. I wonder how much the Islanders have been getting talking to because I feel like there's a lot of people who feel very conflicted about exploring and also keep changing their minds on things that they previously say. So are they all really that indecisive or that big of liars? Or is production being like, no, you have to have the conversations? Like, you literally have to. I don't feel like I have a very clear answer.
Yeah, one of the girls from season 1 did a TikTok, Alex, basically of like, they all got in trouble for for being too closed off too early. Production told them that if they didn't start exploring, like one of them would get sent home. And then all of a sudden, like the guy she was like close with just like has a conversation with Elizabeth, who's her bestie. And she was like really like drawing the parallels with this situation of like, perhaps Bryce is wanting to talk to Kayda because that's like a safe conversation to have because nothing will come of it. And it's like no one will need to be jealous, but I don't know. It still caused a big mess.
I don't think that that's what his motivations were in terms of it being safe and nothing would come of it. I do think that he legitimately like thinks she's really pretty and thinks that they have a great vibe and they're good friends. But it could have just also be that the producers are encouraging people to continue exploring. And I think that Bryce is likely to explore with someone who comes in and he's interested in. That just didn't happen this round with Soul and Jen. And so I think cut to, if they had brought in 2 other bombshells, like Bryce could have been talking to both of them. Trinity could have been talking to 2 other guys if it was just people they had been interested in. And that was really the problem. I don't know 100% on the women's side, but I think especially on Bryce's right now.
Yeah. So basically, Bryce gets it in his head that he has all these doubts about Trinity. And the only way for him to really feel sure about his connection with Trinity is that he needs to explore. And by explore, he means have a conversation with Kayda just to see if there's anything romantic there at all, or if there's nothing, because he'll always wonder if he doesn't ask now. Now, Kayda rejected him 2 times in the past. One, when he tried to kiss in the bed when she was making out with Zach, and she was like, "You're gonna be left out tonight."
Yeah.
And then again when she chose to couple with Zach.
For me, I think that a lot of people are saying, Bryce, you're so stupid. How could you ever think there could be something here? And I think there is a world in which something could have developed. There is a friends first scenario where they become friends, they realize they like each other, and that's fine. I just don't think that 3 days is enough time for that to happen. I don't think you get to check in after getting rejected 3 days ago and 4 days ago and say, feel any different now after we haven't talked at all in any romantic type of way? I think that Zach's reaction of just laughing at Bryce and thinking that he was joking was pretty much my reaction.
Zach laughed in his face, like cackled so loud and truly for so long.
Yep.
And I felt the same way. And literally, like, after he realizes it's not a joke and he kind of like calms down because, like, that's his bro. He's like, Kayda might laugh in your face. Too much.
I think she's just nicer than that.
Yes.
She kind of did behind his back, but I think that Zach kind of extrapolated a little bit too much off of this and takes this as more signs of you don't actually like Kayda, you just aren't into Trinity, and uses this as further proof for his narrative. I'm glad that he at least tells Bryce to tell Trinity before he pulls Kayda, considering Trinity and Kayda are apparently best friends in the villa as well. So this is so incredibly complicated.
Well, we've seen them hanging out as like a little foursome. I'm like, oh, is this the end of Riverdale with Betty, Veronica, Archie, and Jughead as a four? Like, I could see it. And I would like to see it. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to that happening on Love Island at all. So it was just like very strange. And the conversation that he has with Trinity, I really liked that she just was like, well, I don't like this. Like, I don't feel good about this. I was glad that she said that.
My thing is, I am like slightly on the producer's side of like they are really not talking to anyone. And I see
Yeah.
nothing wrong with Bryce or Trinity or honestly any of these couples talking to someone else as long as there is open and clear communication. And so I see absolutely no problem with it. I think they should be allowed. Maybe it gets a little bizarre to like where I see Trinity's point the most is it's a little bizarre because like you've already been there, like you've already
Yeah.
explored Kayda, and so like that's why I feel weird about it. If Bryce was like, "Hey, I really want to talk to Soul," then like, cool, fine. She's a new person you haven't explored. That makes sense to me logically, but
Yeah.
why is there still this question mark with Kayda? I get why that's a little confusing. Ultimately, I think I come down on the point of view of like it's Love Island, explore. I don't care, but
Yes.
she's also allowed to not love it.
Well, yeah, and it's good for them to at least feel comfortable with each other that she
Sure.
can be like, I don't love this, but like it's not like she was like, you can't do it or we'll be done forever or anything like that. So
Mhm.
I did like that he went to her first. I liked that she was able to express her concerns, but it still didn't change the course of anything happening. And so then Bryce does talk to Kayda and he's like, I just need to make sure, like, is there anything there? It's like I'll always have this doubt in my head of if there's anything there or not. And she's just like, well, I gotta admit, I think of you as a friend.
It's tough. It's real tough. And I am not shocked because I feel like that message was communicated when you tried to have a threesome with her and her current couple.
Yes.
Like, I just am surprised this was really still a question that was bouncing around his head. I thought this door was closed. And if you had told me, like, Corbin wanted to start exploring with Kayda all of a sudden, then, like, I guess that really hasn't been explored too much, so fine, or at least it hasn't been
Yeah.
firmly shut off. Okay, maybe Kayda didn't want to kiss in the moment when they were talking back then, but it's not as if they ever to us said we're done exploring here. But
Yeah.
I was very surprised by Bryce. I think Kayda finds it a little surprising. I
Yes.
did also find it very funny how funny KC found it when Zach tells KC, no one can believe this is real.
No, nobody. And so that's the part where like every Islander is like laughing and treating it as a joke, where I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to treat it as a joke too, because they are seeing 24 hours a day and we are seeing 1 hour a day.
Yeah, and I actually do think, like, while we're talking about Bryce and Trinity, we're basically talking about Zach and Kayda here as well. I don't really think they have so much independent storyline.
Yeah.
So may as well include all of their conversations while we're at. But I will say I really especially did not like from Zach, where Bryce is supposedly, you know, his best friend in the villa, but when he is having that conversation with Casey, he says that he doesn't think that Bryce is happy with Trinity, especially as much as he makes out to be, and that if he had the choice between Trinity and Kayda, that he would leave her 100%. I feel like that's such a dangerous thing to be throwing around the villa when someone has not told you that by any means, especially.
Yeah.
You could get your best friend sent home because Trinity decides to, like, oh, well, why is Bryce lying to me? I'm going to pick someone else.
Yeah, it is very messy. And that's another thing I've just noticed in general. It does seem like information is really flowing a lot in this
Constant.
villa, and not necessarily in the ways of like people will specifically ask like, "Hey, and please don't tell them I'm going to tell them myself." And then it leaks. So,
Somehow. We still don't know how some of those things
well,
leaked.
listen, we have TMZ. in the villa. There's one woman with all of the information at any given time. So
we don't see the information spread, but we do know the only person who had it.
Yes.
I don't know. I think where we end up, it was nice at least that Trinity and Zach do have a conversation where Trinity is able to assure Zach that she does like Bryce more. I'm curious to see if Zach actually believes this moving forward and like backs off.
That's the information that I would have really loved to get in episode 9 that we didn't get to explore, because it was kind of like after the Kayda rejection, then it's just Bryce has to like clear the air with everyone for the awkward energy that he has brought forth into the villa for no reason. Like when he's talking to Zach, he's like, yeah, that was so unnecessary. That was a bad move. I shouldn't have done that. And so it's like the drama does get kind of deaded, but none of it had to happen. So I guess thank you to Bryce for bringing that.
I'm also glad that we got to have a conversation where when Trinity and Bryce do finally like sort things out, like, hey, Kayda said no, so I'm back. I'm glad that Trinity did get to express herself and ultimately talk with Bryce about how, okay, you feel insecure, but I feel insecure too, especially now. Let's consider the optics of you are, people of two different races who are now speaking, and Trinity, as a more highly melanated woman, is talking about how she feels insecure, especially if Bryce was to have his type walk in and it is a white brunette woman that he ends up leaving Trinity for. How is that going to make her feel in terms of like, I'm good to couple up with you now, but not for the long run? That's shitty and doesn't feel good. If they connect together, fine, but just especially the insecurity of it's going to be over that quickly, I think is like really, really tough. So I'm glad that even though Bryce had to get embarrassed in the process, I do think it helped Bryce and Trinity have important conversations.
Yeah, and I wish they had shown us Bryce's response to hearing that a little bit more, because we didn't really get to see him specifically addressing those specific insecurities, and it really just kind of culminated in him. He gets kind of flustered and just being like, well, words are nothing. I can't show you until I actually pick you.
I don't know if he
true, but still.
The thing is, so I've seen like Bryce social media, and from what I've seen, I think that Bryce would be someone who would be like able to have this conversation and take it on board from what I've seen. So, just guessing based off of context clues, and I don't know if it just wasn't shown or if it's a conversation they've had before, or if he whatever the case may be, maybe he just also didn't respond perfectly here, or who knows. But I'm hoping that it was taken on board, and I'm glad at least that it happened.
Yes, agree completely. I'm glad that we got to see it, and hopefully we continue to see discussions about the different impacts on people of different races and people of different skin tones in Love Island, because again, this is something that has always been a part of the show, but just kind of went unaddressed for a long time. So I think it's progress for it to be addressed.
All of dating reality TV it has been a part of. It just was casting has changed, like conversations that are having like on screen have changed, but nice to finally be seeing.
Yes, 100%. And so everything kind of gets cleared up. What I would have really liked to see actually was like Kayda and Trinity talk about like the last, side of the square, having a full conversation about it. But I'm sure that they did. Like we often see Kayda and Trinity like hanging out in bed together and stuff. So
I want to ask, we come in next Friday. Are Bryce and Trinity still together?
Oh, Lord. I think there's a strong chance. I don't think it's like 100% nothing could happen that could split them up, but I do think that the like list of things that could split them up is fairly small at this point. So I do think they'll probably still be together in a week.
I agree. I'm betting on them. I like their, dynamic. I am hoping that they continue to grow closer, and we shall. And if even if there is someone who tests either side of this relationship, like I hope it works out because I do think that they're fun, and I like the little foursome of them, Zach and Kayda. As
Yeah.
long as Zach stops hating Trinity.
Yeah, that was. Come on, give your head a shake, Zach. It's too
So,
much.
where would you like to go next?
It's so tough. Let's talk about Kenzie and her roster.
Kenzie's roster, brand new topic in her life.
Yes, she's a whole new woman. She's never had a roster before.
She's so funny where she just as Ian points out, is just like, yeah, Corbin, you're on my roster now. So like, don't tell him that.
I love that. Corbin's like, oh, you have a roster now. Oh.
It's so funny. And I think for Kenzie, it obviously went pretty poorly night one with Zach. And I think we've gotten into a position where every bombshell is Kenzie's by default, and then everyone else's if that doesn't work out. So seeing how things have developed with Corbin and are developing with Caleb, I think are interesting, especially in the context of they were both pretty much handed to her by like almost production and the rest of the women.
Literally the whole world got together to hand Kenzie some bombshells to make sure that she would be safe. And listen, I do really like Kenzie and want Kenzie to be on the show as long as possible because
100%.
she is very entertaining. But it is interesting to see how she faces just like the slightest actual adversity, right? Because it's like Zach leaving on night one. I don't think that's real adversity. It was night one. She wasn't actually vulnerable to go home because it was girl's choice. So, and now that it's boy's choice, she has two options. So,
Yep. Yeah, I think Kenzie has been doing just fine. She gets a little stressed out, but I'm enjoying her as a TV character. Obviously, we come into the stretch with Kenzie and Corbin still being like pretty solid, but Caleb's here to test things. What do you think of where Kenzie and Corbin are right now at the beginning of this, at least?
It's really interesting because like obviously she kissed Caleb and she like liked that, but then she tells Corbin she was thinking about Corbin while she was kissing Caleb. And then when we get the bedtime scene in episode 8, it appears that there is some bed chem between her and Corbin.
What could have been going on? I don't know. I don't just bite my finger in the middle of the night.
She had her hands up.
Mm-hmm.
She had her night mask on. Corbin's night mask was not on.
Oh.
There was definitely motion under the blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And she is not just biting her fingers. She is like, she's making a face of ecstasy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Definitely. I did clock. I was like, hold on, we're gonna have to slow this down right now.
I literally stopped the episode and went back like 3 times to be like, what do I think is happening here? And so I'm like pretty sure hand
Love
activities.
Island can make you feel like such a weirdo, but we are journalists doing our job. Yes. I can't believe this is what we gotta check in on, but I think a lot of people are kind of questioning if this is maybe impacting Kenzie's level of conflict within when deciding between Corbin and Caleb.
Yeah, and I think it definitely is. Like, again, Kenzie has said several times she's generally like a one-man kind of gal. She, like, even if it's not like an official relationship, like she's not having several men on the go at once. And so I do think for someone that is typically making that choice, once things do get more physical, it can be a little bit harder to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could totally see that being a little part of it. And I also think a big part of it is going to even just be like sleeping in the same bed. Like, even if nothing happened, which like
100%.
We don't know for sure that anything happened, but it seems like something did. I think even if nothing happened, just like the physical closeness of cuddling at night also adds like a level of intimacy that might make it harder.
I think for Kenzie, I don't think she's necessarily lying to either of them. I feel like she's kind of the audience, we are Kenzie's Melanie to Kenzie's Sincere, where she is lying to us quite a bit, saying that she's gonna, step back from Corbin and she is not going to explore things, and she's so mad. And then they're in bed making out and doing who knows what at night. And then she's not gonna kiss Caleb because she is just going to explore. And then she's kissing Caleb and adding him to the roster. And so I don't think she's always the most consistent. She feels very strongly, but kind of lets her walls fall down very quickly.
Yeah, and the thing is I don't think she's lying when she says any of it. I think that when she says it, she believes it, because I don't think that there is a filter between her mouth and her brain to even come up with a lie, Like,
yep.
I think she's very sincere with what she's saying at all times. It's just it changes like the wind.
Yeah, it's tough because she goes from a couple different situations where now she is, back and forth with Corbin and Caleb, which we've seen many times this season, the back and forth of how this can impact someone. And because Kenzie is exploring, Caleb is now also exploring. And I don't know that he makes the first move, though he says he was going to. Corbin ends up talking to Melanie this week.
So strange, because they've never really spoken.
Outside of when Melanie interrupted mid-sentence to go talk to him.
Yes, other
that's
than
the
that,
last time they talked.
They never spoke again. Because they, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't kiss at that point in time.
I don't think so, no. I think it was very much just a conversation. They talked around there. And then all of the sudden now, I think for both Melanie and Corbin, the people that they're coupled up with are exploring with someone else. They're like, well, I may as well go explore with someone. And the timing just worked out. Like, they're two trains in the night that are meeting up in the middle.
It's 3 a.m. The lights came up. You're going to leave the club with somebody.
Yeah. And Corbin does kind of try to leave that club. I think they have a really good conversation, actually. Mm-hmm. It's kind of surface level, if I'm being totally real, of like, I want a family. Oh my God, I love that you want a family. And I don't know that everything said here is totally 100%, where Melanie's talking about how she wants herself and her husband to be like two fully independent people who come together sometimes. And I don't know if she really wants
not
her
necessarily
man
the vibe I get from her.
Yeah, I think she would love to hang out with the person she's currently coupled up with a lot. And so I wasn't fully sure if they are actually that compatible. But when Corbin, told us a long time ago, he just got caught up in the bombshell of it all and wasn't just going to keep asking everybody to kiss. He breaks that again and asks Melanie, can I kiss you?
Thank God he didn't ask, oh, can you remind me about the kiss we had before? Because that would have been a bridge too far for me personally. But he does ask for the kiss, and she says, no, can we rain check that kiss? I need to talk to Kenzie first before anything were to happen, which I like.
Agreed.
I like that for Melanie. I do think that Corbin also needs to talk to her. And I feel like he took that as oh, well, Melanie's going to talk to her, so I don't have to, which I think is incorrect.
Yep. Yeah, I think that it was tough. They probably both have equal-ish claim to who should get to talk to Kenzie first. I don't think it would have gone well if it was a group sit down of Kenzie, we need an intervention. We're gonna kiss. No. We need to tell you.
That would be bad.
But obviously we get Melanie telling Anaya that this happened. Don't tell anybody though, because she wants to be the one to tell Kenzie.
And then somehow, I'm pretty sure the one who actually told Kenzie was Kayda.
It was.
And so how did Kayda find out?
Maybe Melanie was messy, maybe Corbin was messy, but as far as we were led to believe, Anaya's the only one who knows.
Yeah.
And then even when Kenzie is like, I just found out that Corbin tried to kiss Melanie, it felt like Trinity was like, oh yeah, I heard about that too.
It did. It did seem
it spread.
It seemed that the information is certainly flowing in the Love Island USA villa. On the topic of Corbin and Melanie's conversation as well, I think that we're really not getting to see the full extent of depth of like anyone's conversations, because it feels like every conversation is super, super surface level. And I just don't believe that they would all still be surface level this like over a weekend.
I definitely agree. I think that usually at the beginning of Love Island, they're trying to show us like, hey, look at these new people exploring. And so that's why, I mean, we'll get to them. We don't have a lot on Anaya and KC again this time,
No.
unfortunately. When there is a couple who's doing well and actually having these deeper conversations, unless they're of like really important substance to the audience, I think they get lost, unfortunately. And I
Yeah.
understand why they want to prioritize some of the like messier stuff. And ooh, like Bryce and Kayda are talking. Could anything come of this? Even though it's the most shallow conversation of all time,
Yeah.
it's going to get precedent.
Yeah, you're
So
right. Per
it is what it
usual.
is. No, please. I think that like deeper conversations are happening. It's just not the ones that are making air. They will make air later in the season, and I think that honestly, production kind of doesn't really even want them to be happening yet. I think they want everyone to still be having the shallow conversations with everyone in the villa so that
Yes.
they're not so locked in.
They need Ace to come force everyone to explore.
Honestly, I never thought I would respect Ace so much. I am less like frustrated in terms of like it felt like there was a morality put on exploring last season in terms of whether you are a real couple or not, and that's not what I'm doing. It's not that I
No.
don't think these are real couples, it's that I don't think this is Love Island. And so that's my
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like we are like, yes, it's great if by the end of the season we have a few like real couples that are gonna date and could make it long term. It's week 2.
Yeah. If we get to Casa Amor and everyone's like, no, thank you, I'm gonna scream.
If everyone's sleeping outside during Casa Amor, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think
No.
that stuff will break, and I think that at least some of the couples, even if they stay together, will be very messy until then, and still probably have issues whether they do stray and come back together, whatever the case may be. But I think for now, they're just getting a little unlucky. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. There's not really anything else with.
Mm, I think
Oh,
for yeah.
no, I lost it. Sorry.
I think for Kenzie, it really came down a lot this week to complaining that she feels like a second option. She has like good conversations with both of them, but I don't feel like either really edged out the other. I think her big concern is that she's struggling even like I think she's trying not to fall into, well, this is my usual type, so like things are taking over and I should just jump in this direction like I feel inclined to do like I would otherwise, versus
Mhm.
with Corbin we have all this time built in and like physical chemistry based on the amount of making out or whatever else they've been doing. And so there are like reasons for both, but she's trying not to let either be the exclusive reason of why she picks them, and she's having a lot of difficulty figuring out the other stuff. I think she needs to remove like, okay, the time and intimacy, and she needs to remove the regular type, and like let's look at everything else that's left on the table when you remove those things.
Yeah, and like it doesn't seem like anybody else has talked to Caleb, so I'm pretty sure you're his first choice, babe. You are a
Yep.
primary choice there. And with Corbin, like I actually really found it really interesting how Kenzie talks to Melanie and to Corbin after, of just like, my feelings were hurt. I'm not mad at anyone, but like I had hurt feelings and I didn't really know what to do to process them. But like
Yeah.
it's okay, but I did feel some kind of way.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid. I enjoy that she gets her feelings out in the moment and we get to benefit from a little bit
Yes.
of a, tiny crash out on screen. And then we don't actually have such dark, devastating consequences. So maybe I'd like a little bit more of a follow through. Like we could be mad at them a little bit, but what are you
I
gonna do?
just don't think she has it in her to like
I don't
properly
either.
hold a grudge.
I don't either. I kind of wish that there was a little bit of it. I don't think that they really did anything that was worth
No.
holding this like super hard grudge. So I hope that if something were to happen, whether it be Casa Amor or something where she actually like has a reason to, that she manages, I would hate to see that she just forgives so easily when something actually should not be rolling off her back.
Yes, agreed. And we'll have to see when actual bad things are happening. Which sounds weird to say, but it's like sometimes bad stuff happens in Love Island, and it kind of has to happen to keep the drama and the intrigue.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be the worst things in the world, but like
No.
it's not Friendship Island. So
We love the friendships, but it is not Friendship Island.
Now let's talk about one of the big stories of the week.
Yes.
Ready to talk about Melanie and Sincere?
We literally have to. What is going on in Sincere's head? Before we like really go into everything that happened, like what do you think is going on in his head?
I feel like Sincere is someone who thinks very much in the moment and doesn't really think about any further consequences beyond 30 seconds from now, because he seems so assured when he's talking to whoever he's talking to, and even to us, the audience. When he delivers a confessional about what he's feeling in that moment, I do believe he believes it. But I think that his mind is changed very easily.
I think Sincere is one of those people who would call themselves a people pleaser, but yet nobody is pleased.
I like that.
Because I think he's really just trying to avoid conflict at all costs, and then it creates more conflict inevitably because some conflict is actually constructive.
I don't know that he realizes just how badly he's contradicting himself. I think sometimes what he's doing is overblown. Again, I think it's Love Island. He's exploring early on. It's not great. What I have always said is my bigger issue is I'll never kiss Soul again. Yes. I kissed her twice. Oops.
You don't have to say that.
Yeah, exactly. It's volunteering like promises and conditions that were never asked of you to shut down the conflict quicker and to get to resolution that you don't actually intend on keeping.
Yes, 100%. Or
may intend on keeping, but will very easily break in the future.
Yeah, we also have seen just in general this villa. I feel like no one has actually given the bombshells a proper chance. Like it seems like they're not hanging out with the girls very much. Yep. Not very many men are talking to the female bombshells. Only Kenzie seems to really be talking to Caleb, which I do not love to see because it's like, like Soul says in episode 9, like she just came in as a bombshell. Like she's here to find love like everybody else. And she just feels like she's getting shit on. It's like, well, I don't want people to come into like a bad vibe.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, okay, you said from season 1, Alex talked about how the producers threatened, like, we're going to send someone home if you keep doing this. I think if the vibes really are that toxic for someone coming in, you got to start sending some OGs home. Like, we need to like curate a better vibe here. And I like pretty much everyone on the show and actively enjoy, but I also need... And like I don't hate any of the episodes. I actually am very excited to watch every single one. I even said to you, I was like, I thought episode 8 was so fun. I thought episode 9 was solid. So I don't think the episodes are bad by any means. I just think that we know what's going to produce a successful Love Island season, and some small ingredients are missing.
100%.
Yeah.
So Melanie, the start of this is like we've just seen Melanie have the confrontation. Confrontation feels like such a strong word, but like
I think it was more of just a conversation.
I think more of a conversation.
Yeah. Sincere admits, after asked multiple times, that he kissed Soul not once, but twice. And Melanie is not really dealing with that too well.
Well, and like as we said when we talked about it on Tuesday, like it was like pulling teeth to get him to actually say anything about what happened. And I think that only hurts the situation when it feels like you have to really be digging for information. So she goes basically straight to Anaya and has and is like, he kissed her twice.
It's not good. And Anaya tries to help of like, I don't know what he's doing. Why are you doing this? Do not shed a tear over him though. Like, we are good.
Yeah.
You are fine. We're going to do that. When I feel like Melanie needs to shed some tears. Like,
she needs to let it out.
She's gonna cry at some point. Best be now. Like, let's just cry with you, because otherwise she's gonna cry with someone else.
You are correct. You are correct about that.
Yeah.
In the morning, then Sincere and Melanie have like a longer conversation where she's really expressing that her feelings were hurt about the kiss. Like, asks how many times did they kiss. Sincere's like, well, twice. She's like, I knew it was more than once. I just knew. And like, listen, Melanie's psychic. We've known this from earlier on in the season. She has visions.
She has dreams. She has visions.
And she's just really like convinced that Soul is going to take Sincere away, and that if he's off, kissing Soul and sleeping with Soul, then the feelings with Melanie are just going to fade to nothing. Sincere's like, well, you were the one who wanted to explore. She's like, well, I didn't kiss in the speakeasy 2 times.
And I do think that we have obviously criticized Sincere for what ends up being him lying. Again, I don't think he thinks he's lying in the moment, but in contradicting himself, saying things that end up being untrue. I do think that Melanie puts him in situations that kind of force him to lie. Where she is saying things like, you're going to be off with Soul and making out, and I'm going to be here, and my feelings are going to evaporate, and I will feel nothing for you, and like, don't. And when they're trying to have a conversation about how exploring is okay, but let's figure out those boundaries, I don't think that's super helpful either.
It's not, but I also just like, he talks in circles around her.
Yes.
And I feel like she then is just trying to get something concrete, and that kind of results in her almost forcing the issue. But if Sincere was just willing to have a real conversation, even if not everybody's happy at the end of it, this could have been resolved 4 days ago.
I think that's what it is like, I know, okay, your chemistry is so good, but just like the basics of communication are not there. That's like, I don't care how much you like that person, like, it's not gonna work. If it's something that you need in a relationship, well, then that's a deal breaker. Like, that's a red flag. It's someone who's not going to be able to give you what you need. And unfortunately, we are in like forced proximity on Love Island, and we're gonna keep defaulting back to it because the spark feels so good. But I think there are major issues here. Hot take. Major issues with Melanie and Sincere.
Wow, I can't believe you'd be so controversial and brave,
I'm brave.
as to say that. But you are. You're so brave. And like, this is where she's literally like, is it yes or no you want to like explore? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, now I'm confused because it seems like you do want to explore because you kissed her twice. He's like, I don't know what to do.
It killed me when she said yes or no questions. I'm going to fire them off at you. Now answer. No. Why? Like, that's not a yes or no. And he accurately calls her out on it. It's so funny. And that's where, like, I do see they have good chemistry. They laugh that off. They like end up kind of snuggling, making out. And Sincere makes these over the top promises of he's never going to kiss her again. He only wants to focus on Melanie. He is going to fix this. He swears she's his only connection. And the problem is, he walks away and says, yeah, I got to figure out which of my connections are going to really work out here. Sir, you just said Melanie's your only connection. What are you talking about?
This is like he said he needs to be really meticulous in what he does, but he is not acting in a meticulous manner. And he basically like immediately pulls Soul for a chat in soul ties in front of Melanie. And Melanie's just like, okay, well, they're going upstairs and they're probably going to kiss again. And then it seems like Sincere and Soul spend the whole afternoon together. Like, it feels like hours and hours up there because we see so many conversations happen. And I was like, oh, there's no way it actually happened like this. And then in one of them, we're like, oh, is he still up there? Like, oh my God, it did happen like that. He spent all afternoon with her.
Yeah, I think the lighting changed. I think Melanie built a sundial and knows exactly how long. Like she is fully prepared of the problem being exploring is having some conversations, but primarily telling the person who they're your number one focus and they're your priority, actually spending more time with them. What do you know? And
Yes.
actually showing them that you're interested in them. And so when it goes the entire day from that one conversation in the morning until nighttime and you don't talk at
Mhm.
all anymore, that's going to be an issue because you are prioritizing your time, the only commodity you really have in Love Island, with a different person. That's not a
Yeah.
priority. That's not making me a priority.
Yeah, and it's many people say actually over the course of this episode, like, he is not considering her at all. And so
I
I did like that people are seeing that because I feel like for a little bit it was like everyone's like, "Oh, Melanie's the problem. Melanie did this, Melanie did that." I'm like, "Well, no, like was some of Melanie's actions a bit crazy? Yes, but she's far and away not the only issue in the relationship."
I think that Melanie has had some questionable actions and some extremely questionable reactions. I think that those are big problems that if someone were to tell me they think that Melanie is the main issue in the relationship, like I'm going to let them have their opinion. But I think that if you think Sincere has the main issue, I will also let you have that opinion. And if you think it's a 50-50 split and they're extremely toxic mutually, yeah, I believe you. Like I think that there are
Yeah.
problems on both ends, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's maybe for me, and I know that yeah, you'll let me have this opinion. I think it's like 70-30 and Sincere is the 70.
I would definitely lean much closer there. Yeah, in terms of like saying it's both, that does not mean it's an even 50-50. I think it
Yeah.
fluctuates at times. But I
Mhm.
think that where we're at right now, especially, is Sincere constantly doing and saying two different things. And that continues to be an issue.
I can't help but feel has Sincere been in a similar situation in the past outside of the bill? Like it just seems like perhaps a lesson he's going to have to face over and over again until he actually learns it.
I will say I was literally obsessed with when Melanie and Anaya have a conversation and she's venting to her and saying, "Here's all the things Sincere says. Actually, I'm going to go have a talk with him right now." And it takes like Anaya and Casey and the whole rest of the villa pulling Melanie down the
Yeah.
stairs physically to keep her away from him.
She's literally like, "I'm just gonna go up there and break up with him right now and tell him that I'm done." And Casey's like, "No, no, 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 like, do not do this." And I was like, "No, no, no, just chill. Like, this is not the time. This is not the time." And as much as that would have been like a very dramatic, explosive moment, and I'm sure good TV, I liked seeing the other Islanders looking out for her and helping her to make the
Yeah.
right decision in that moment.
I do think at first with KC, she lies and says, like, "Oh, I'm just going to the glam
She
room."
did.
So,
She
like,
did lie, but he saw right through it and he was like, "No, no, no."
and so that's where I'm like, there's not no problems on this side. Like the behavior is not perfect right here. But I think it was a really good call not to interrupt. I think that for many other Islanders, like it could have been fine if KC was talking to Soul and then Anaya went and interrupted. Probably fine. I don't think there's really any issues there. But I think Melanie and Sincere, because of all of the complications they've already had, and
Mhm.
also maybe like seeing how Melanie has handled a couple of these situations coming so far, this was definitely the right call.
Yeah, she's emotional and she's reactive, and
Yep.
then Sincere doesn't respond well to that. So it's
Hmm.
not
He thinks
necessarily
he
a
is.
match made in heaven. Yeah, he
You
thinks
think?
he is.
Yep.
He's certainly a talker.
Yeah, because again, we get into episode 9 starts like the same exact way as episode 8, where Sincere and Melanie are having another conversation. And what do you know? Sincere says, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I want to eliminate any doubt. I'm
Yeah.
not pursuing her at all. It is you. I am going to make this work with you inside of the villa, outside of the villa. You are my priority. I am not going to kiss her. I am not going to do anything. And that doesn't hold true.
He like picks her up and carries her away. She's like, "I got my man back." And we see at bedtime, Anaya's just like, you guys are so bad at communication and so toxic. This is enough. Like, this is horrible. Like, what are we doing? Because they're all cuddled up in bed, like, hee, we're in love. Not like in love, but like, basically.
I mean, it would not shock me at all if episode 10, one of them drops the L word. Like, that would not shock me at all based on this couple. I loved Anaya in that moment, especially because I'm always enjoying her. But we know that she's been one of the sounding boards for the both of them. She has to deal with all of their bullshit when they're together and when they're apart. And she has to hear both sides of the story. And she's like, I'm sick of it. Like, you don't get to have all the fun parts and I get the bad.
Well, and she believes in them more also than anyone else. And so for her to be finally like, hey, get it together, please. I'm losing my mind.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But of course, Sincere, done with Soul? Not so much.
No!
Not so much. I will say, I don't think they have too much of a conversation from this point out. It really is this sweet as pie challenge that is the next big development in the the Sincere and Melanie and Soul.
Yes. And so the way this challenge worked was Sierra and Teffy were there, our After Sun hosts, which was very fun. And they would give a scenario of like, who's most likely to do X? And then the girls would send someone to, name who it would be for the boys. The boys would send someone over. If it was a nice question, it would be a kiss. If it was a naughty question, it would be a pie. I thought this was like a fun twist on the pie in the face challenge.
I think there was one major issue with this. Okay. I think the whole point of challenges is to get people kissing who would not otherwise be kissing. And the fact that the boys and girls could just decide to send over whoever they wanted at any time was, I think, a big flaw. I think it should have been a direct order of like, okay, now the question is who's most likely to sleep with their best friend's partner. And no matter who the girls want to answer, Kenzie will be going over and kissing that person. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's a much better format. That's how we get things mixed up and feelings hurt and conversations flowing on Love Island.
Yes, that is a very good point, and that would have improved it.
Otherwise, pretty fun.
Yes, and we saw like quite a few kisses and pies, but we saw Soul get pied twice, but based on context clues, I'm pretty sure she got pied like,
yes, I agree,
significantly more than that.
At least that. And for questions that she doesn't feel she necessarily deserved, and a lot of other people don't feel like she really deserved. Like Bea is saying these should have been Melanie questions. Like they should not have been Soul. And I don't even know that I necessarily agree with that based on the ones that we saw, that they were like directly Melanie. But like, why is Soul the person who is gonna ghost? Why is Soul the person breaking girl code? Like, when does that happen?
It's very strange, and especially given like Soul is really feeling like no one has talked to her and gotten to know her. So it's like, well, why would you think it's her when you literally know nothing about her? Like it's giving, oh, we just pied Soul because then we don't have a repercussion of like maybe pieing someone that we're friends with or in a couple with.
Yep. Exactly. That's 100% what I felt like was going on here is I don't know you, so I feel less bad about it. And or I subconsciously don't want to think these bad things about my friends who I've made in the villa. So it's a lot easier just to assume it of this person who I have no relationship with. And so I don't think it was like malintentioned towards Soul. I don't think that that is the case, but I think that it seems that a lot of Islanders have done a very bad job of making probably all of the new bombshells feel pretty included.
Yeah, 100%. Because then the challenge culminates in Zach pieing Soul for the girl code question. It's the last one that they do. And she like has her hands up because she doesn't want the pie in her face anymore and is like very upset. She's crying. Zach is saying, oh, I feel horrible. Like that's the one, like all the guys agreed that it should be her. And it was just like my turn to go up and I feel bad. But I also feel like he like touched her neck while he was pieing her. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think with these, like, it's a game. I don't really take
Yeah.
too much on Zach. Like, if he did it too aggressively, like probably not great. Maybe worth an apology. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's like indicative. I think that it was unlucky timing. I don't even think it was the answer to the question. I think it was just the repeated pieing, the complete like
Yes.
othering of Soul at this point, where it's like you're very much not one of us. It sounds like a lot of the guys have just completely written her off and not spoken to her, even though so many of them were like, oh my god, she's gorgeous, she seems so cool, like
Yeah.
we would love to talk to her. And then the dynamic of this villa is such that she's basically spending her days tanning. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I just think Soul is so beautiful and seems so cool. And then she's getting iced out, and I have trouble understanding it. But you're right; it's just totally the ethos of the villa this season, which is not
Yeah.
the most fun TV.
No, I think it will improve, and I don't think it's like horrible, but I think it's probably been a issue universally. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
Jen is having like the same exact issues, or if maybe like she's not maybe like I think with Soul, from what we've seen, she's getting a lot from one person in particular, and that's probably like really confusing when no one else is paying any attention. You have one person who's kind of
yeah,
like playing games, whether intentionally or unintentionally, with her. And so if you're whether you're Jen, Caleb, or just like anybody coming in, and everyone's kind of giving you like a hey, I'm a nice person, and we're gonna have a conversation, that's a lot easier to accept than I have one
yes,
person who's almost love bombing me and everyone else is completely ignoring me.
100%. I really feel for Soul.
Yeah. I don't know. So like I don't think that people are being malicious. I just think it has been unfortunate. And so I did like that Kenzie has a conversation with Soul telling her like I'm friends with Melanie, but I'll still be here for you. I'm really glad. I wonder if production also told people basically like, go talk to Soul. KC tries to talk to her and tells her that he wants to talk to her later. And then Sincere, though maybe you know mixed signals again, does have a conversation with Soul.
And I actually really like in that conversation, I was like, oh, is he actually planning to hold true to what he said to Mel this morning? Because it really did feel more like a friend checking in rather
Sure.
than like a romantic connection. But also after the pie challenge, Melanie is like, I want to go talk to Soul. I want to like none of this is her fault and this sucks and I want to talk to her. And you can see like the light leaving Sincere's eyes. Like, no, 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 no. Do not go talk to Soul. I cannot have these women comparing notes.
That's exactly it, where I actually thought that it could have been pretty helpful because, as far as we've seen from Melanie, while I feel like the reactions are very large and could be misconstrued from across the villa as, oh, she's probably mad at me. I feel like in her conversations with other women in the villa, it's always been like, I'm not mad at Soul. Like, that's not her problem. Uh,
Yeah.
so, from what I can remember off the top of my head, I think she's been approaching that in the correct way.
Well, especially when the only other comparison is Bea calling them bitches.
Mhm.
So,
So, not a perfect there, but obviously we will touch back on
yes.
Sincere and Melanie when we get to discussing that last recoupling as a whole. It's so up and down. Like I said, I really feel like you can check in on any single episode and the status of Sincere and Melanie is going to change. I would love to make predictions when we talk about them again.
Yeah, I don't know now what I will say then, much
Yep.
like Sincere talking to Melanie at any given time.
hmm
So we'll
I
noodle on that and talk about it at the end.
I would ask for Anaya and KC. Do you feel like there was much here outside of their conversations with other people that we have already touched on?
They had one conversation where they're like, basically, yeah, we're chilling. We're not in like the Sincere type situation. It's smooth sailing for us. Like, oh, it was rocky for a second, but it's all good now. And that's really the only other thing that happened with them that we haven't talked about because they are mostly just being sounding boards for others.
I think what it is it's hard when Sincere and Melanie are taking up so much of the airtime and the conversation, and
Yeah.
especially when Casey and especially Anaya were involved in conversations with both Sincere and Melanie that are always going to make air. I feel like the editors are like, all right, well, we already have had airtime with them and we've reminded you who they are. We don't necessarily need to show
Yeah.
you Anaya and Casey's specific conversations, especially when mostly smooth sailing at this point. So I would love, if and when things calm down, to see more Anaya and KC.
Yes.
Not saying I
I
want things to not
agree.
get messy, but I want to see more of them.
I want to see more of them, whether it's messy or not messy. I just wanted to be honest and to get to see them. The one thing we didn't mention about Sincere and all of that is like he says that at night, like it's only going to be you. I'm just picking you, but then makes breakfast for both
Crazy.
Soul and Melanie. Even though
Crazy.
Caleb has been making breakfast for Soul every morning because he's just been doing it for Jen and Soul as like, well, I don't have anyone to make breakfast for. And then he's also like, it's my first time making scrambled eggs. I really tried. It's like, that is not a difficult thing to
It's the
do.
easiest. It's literally the easiest. But okay. Even Bryce is like, you're gonna look really dumb by making people breakfast. Even Bryce is like, this is a terrible, stupid move. And Sincere's like, I thought I was balancing that really well. The problem is, Sincere, you've been telling Melanie that you will not be balancing it at all. So why do we need to do this 50-50? It should be, as you said, 110 or like 70-30, whatever the case may be when you're exploring, if you were saying that was what you were going to continue doing.
It's just the sociology of the Love Island breakfast is such a rich tapestry that when he had breakfast for her, I thought that was so crazy.
Yeah, I was floored. Like, truly, I call me Melanie because I'm like, this is Sincere's last chance. I believe him this time, but next time, Sincere, and I keep falling for it.
He's a really good speaker. Like he paints a picture with his words.
I love Jen's line of like, you may be sincere, but you are not honest.
Oh,
really
she
good.
ate with that.
It was really, really good.
I like that was in the the first look, which I know you don't normally watch first
Not
look.
Always, yeah. Sometimes.
But so that was in the first look, and I was like, oh my God. And then I saw it in the episode, and guess what? It hit just as hard the second time. And then when you just said it again, it also hit just as hard. Like that. Ugh, that was cinema.
Can we talk about Bea and Gabe?
Yes, we're going to have to. So we had really seen very little from them overall in these two episodes. But during the the sweetest pie challenge, Bea is talking about, you know, she's about to kiss someone, and it's someone who's like such a good person and so nice. And you could see on Gabe's face, he thinks he's about to get a big fat makeout. And then she kisses Caleb, who's standing right next to him instead. And that really gets Gabe in his feelings.
I think the assessment that Gabriel was more embarrassed by him assuming it was him than he was by the speech seems pretty accurate to me.
Yeah, and the way he's describing his hurt feelings is like, you have been bringing up communication, but then like based on what you were saying about him, now I feel like there's more that you haven't told me. I feel like now you're not communicating. But I really don't think there's anything she didn't tell him, because we've never seen her with Caleb, and I think they would show that to us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, you know, in many of these couples cases, if it was their, you know, boundaries, they would have liked for Bea to say to Gabriel, like, hey, just so you know, you're exploring with the new bombshells. I'm also probably going to talk to Caleb at some point. And I think that's all it really would have taken. And I don't know that we didn't get that explicitly, but it wasn't on the, you know, it wasn't on the show. I don't know that they didn't talk about it ever there. That's my read. Really?
Yeah, when she talked to him about, and he told her that he had kissed them both, she was like, well, yeah, and like, you don't have to tell me I'm allowed or not allowed to do something. Like, you're exploring, I'm gonna explore. And like, he didn't tell her until after he had kissed both of them. So I feel like it's like a little off to then be like, well, it's not the kiss, but I feel like you didn't talk to me. It's like, well, you didn't talk to her till after you'd already kissed 2 people. So
That's
glass houses.
that's why I really think it is just like, you made me feel dumb, and I don't
Yeah.
want to say that. Like, and
Yeah.
even he might not even be recognizing that that's what it is, and like maybe it's not what it is, but it's my read. Like, my read is that whether he realizes it or not, she made him feel dumb, and that's what he's frustrated by.
Yeah. I agree completely. And like she has a confession where she's like, I don't want to invalidate his feelings, but what is he upset about? I don't understand.
That's so real.
And I thought that was very funny. But she does come back to him for a second conversation later, being like, I just really want to make sure I fully understand how you're feeling because I really like you. I like our connection. I don't want this to be messed up. And they get back on the same page and they make out in front of everyone.
I feel like when I was seeing Gabriel exploring with both of the bombshells, I did not know if Gabriel and Beatrice were all of a sudden really in it for the long haul. But I think the end of episode 9 made me doubt my initial reads. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I agreed completely. I had the exact same journey. I was like, he doesn't care. He'll make out with anyone. He'd make out with a tree. It's fine. Then it seems like maybe actually there were some deeper feelings there that we didn't get to see explored on the show.
I think that I'm good to talk about the recoupling if you are.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that happened that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Oh, Melanie made a really funny comment before the last bedtime we saw, where she compares Sincere to Christopher Columbus, that he's exploring shit that's already been explored. I laughed.
It was really, really funny. Just a good line. I feel like Melanie's very quick and witty with some of these lines that she pulls out, where Sincere is pulling metaphors that make either very little sense or they're so basic. I forget the one that he had again tonight, but
it was we're the pilot and the co-pilot, and we're making all these side stops, but when can we get to the destination? I was like, I don't even know who you think is the pilot or the co-pilot and like where you're going. Like I don't even know what the destination is, but okay.
On planes, is it typically called rest stops? Like, or are those layovers? Like, I don't know what the deal is.
You make a very good point.
So I was like, I don't know if that's how flying works.
I love to book with as many layovers as possible so I can stop and rest, obviously.
I think maybe we leave the the metaphors to Melanie.
I think we'd all be better off for it, but I don't think that we have heard the last Sincere analogy yet. But yeah, let's talk about the recoupling, because this happens basically right after that last conversation with Gabe and Bea. Zach is encouraging Jen, like, you should still pull Gabe for a chat, even though they just made out in front of all of us. But she doesn't even get the chance because Ariana walks right in.
Yep. And Ariana looking great as always. Obviously going to check in with the bombshells, ask them how their time is doing. I think Jen, Caleb, like, hey, I've been doing good. Soul, it's horrible. We had seen her at one point. It's like, this fucking villa, I'm done. Get me out of here.
So Ariana's like, okay, so a mixed bag. Okay.
Okay, so some people like being on the show. Oops.
She's like, I love this show. Hate to see you having such a bad time here. Hope it's good TV. Bye.
Yeah, unfortunate, but Ariana's here to do a job, and she's going to let them know that tonight America has all of the power, or at least most of it, because America has decided for the bombshells who they will be coupling up with, breaking up 3 existing couples.
Yes, and so she does this, of course, in the most dramatic order possible, because we get first Caleb and Kenzie, then Jen and Gabriel, and then Soul and Sincere. And through this, like, Corbin was reassuring Kenzie, like, we're gonna be okay, don't worry. Sincere reassures Melanie, like, no matter what happens, like, we are gonna make it work, we are gonna figure it out. Melanie is crying well before any actual decision is
knows
given. Yeah, she knows. Sincere knows too. Like, they all know.
I think that's the thing, especially when we hear from Soul, like not a single other man in the villa has talked to Soul. Then, like, what do you think was on the edited show? Because
Who
I'm
else
really
could we vote
interested.
for?
Yeah, I think that probably Corbin and Kenzie knew that this was coming. I think Melanie and Sincere knew this was coming. Gabriel and Jen seem very shocked. And so I'm like, who was Jen shocked? Like, who did she talk to otherwise? Because she's like, wow, I did not see that coming. And I was like, really? Because I haven't seen you talk to anyone else.
Literally. Like that, the only thing we saw was, well, I mean, I guess we also saw her have the like One Direction conversation with Zach, but then we
One
never saw
conversation.
them together again until he's encouraging her to pull Gabe, which I feel like he wouldn't be doing if he wanted to be with her.
I think the show was very, whether they were, their hand was forced in the situation like Soul and Sincere, or whether they maybe decided, as it kind of seems like based on Jen and Gabriel's reactions, that they kind of decided how we were going to be voting by how many
Yeah.
conversations we got to see of other people. And for me, this did not hit like when we did this last year by any means.
No, it didn't. And then we, of course, have an extra person. And so to get rid of someone rather than the couples that didn't get split up voting, we had, okay, well, there's Corbin and then there's two women. So now Corbin gets to choose who to save by picking who he wants to be coupled up with. I'm like, oh, so now people have a choice in who they're coupled up with. Interesting. They are not willing to let Corbin go because I really do think Corbin would have gone home if the Islanders had voted.
I don't think this was about saving Corbin. I think this was about saving Melanie.
I don't think they would have voted Melanie out.
I don't think so either. I think the producers were taking absolutely zero chance though. And so this, I think, I'm going to call rigged on saving Melanie here. I think that they were probably fine with whichever of Corbin and Bea went home, if I had to take my guess. And I think it was just whatever we do, we can't take a chance of losing Melanie. And how do we guarantee that? Well, we got one way right here.
And it all just feeds into my theory that Corbin is a production plant.
There we go. I think that, like, I'm happy with the result, but I'm a little annoyed with how we got here. I don't think we need to produce Love Island this hard. I think part of what makes Love Island fun is that anyone could go at any time. I do think it would have been really unsatisfying to see Melanie and Sincere end in this way. And the reason why it felt so much more satisfying last time is I don't feel like Jeremiah and Iris were this like assumed couple in the same way that Sincere and Soul were. So when America votes for Jeremiah to recouple with Iris, that's why the reaction is so big, because it's like, what are you talking about? Like, obviously America would be in love with Huda and Jeremiah because they spend all of their time together and there was no world in which they were exploring. Maybe Jeremiah and Iris had conversations, but in no world did they think that America was going to break them up. Whereas here, it felt like a foregone conclusion. And then we foregone conclusion into Corbin picking Melanie. So doesn't hit remotely the same.
No, it doesn't. And then just Bea has been kind of like MIA from the show for a couple of days. And so it doesn't feel like as satisfying to see her leave in this way either. Though I do kind of think that we saw maybe the full extent of what we were going to see from her at the same time, because she's very much like so afraid of looking dumb that it does impact her decision making, and she'll, you know, do less than maybe some others would. So I don't think it's the end of the world that she's gone, but it was not that satisfying. And I also was so surprised because, like, yes, everyone is upset, everyone is crying, but Gabe was like very upset and emotional, which I was not expecting at all.
It was really sweet when he's like, in such a short time, we've become so close and being with you has been incredible. I'm like, oh my God.
Like, I had a tear in my eye. And if you had told me 24 hours ago I would have a tear in my eye for Gabe and Bea, I would have said, you're crazy.
That's exactly it, because we've been kind of complaining, like, are they not having any deep conversations? Are they just sticking their tongues down each other's throats and not having conversations? Because we're not really seeing it. And so for them to have this moment was so unexpected.
I'm like, does Peacock just not want to do the subtitles for when they talk in Spanish? Because, like,
that's lazy. I don't like that. If that's
what are
the
we
answer.
doing here? I mean, I have no clue, obviously.
I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
like trying to grasp at straws for like any reason for the lack of content. If they are having those deep conversations, we do know that he feels more comfortable to have them in Spanish.
For sure. Yeah, I'm not devastated. I liked Bea fine. I think that she brought a different personality to the villa, and so I do think we are losing something. I don't think she was the most boring person on this season by any means, but I don't totally disagree with you that I think we kind of got a full picture of her character, and I am okay with moving on.
Yeah, even when she's leaving and she's like, "Be nice to each other, no more drama." I'm like, we want drama. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like, get her out of here. So
Okay.
I'm happy with the result. I just think that it was a little anticlimactic, especially with the fact that we waited an extra day for it.
Yeah.
So not ideal.
And then they had to have the 90-minute episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think we needed the 90 minutes.
I felt like this 90 minutes was more warranted than the last 90-minute episode. Okay. But Fair. It still is like a little excessive when we're getting 6 days a week.
Yeah. Sometimes. I don't know. I am still very much excited. I feel like there's a lot to explore. I guess when we actually didn't discuss, when America does vote for Sol and Melanie to couple up, Melanie is kind of over it, just saying, have fun in your little couple over there. Like, I wish you the best, but this is the end of the love triangle. Kirsten,
and
is this the end of the love triangle?
I think she believes in that moment that it's the end of the love triangle, but I don't believe that it's the end of the love triangle.
Maybe in that it's now a love square because Corbin's involved, or a pentagon with like Kenzie. Like, the shape might be changing, but I don't think the dynamics are going anywhere.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be really emotional for both of them when they've been sleeping together every day since day one. The first night sleeping apart, I think, is going to be really emotional. I think that maybe Sincere did decide to prioritize Melanie because like he didn't try to get physical with Sol again after that, which is huge growth. So maybe he's like trying to get back to her. Listen, I said on Tuesday, I think these crazy kids can work it out. And I kind of doubted that a little bit on Thursday, but now we're back to Friday. I'm like, maybe those crazy kids can work it out.
If Sincere wants to make this work, he needs to sleep outside. I just don't see a world in which Sincere and Sol are sleeping in bed together every night and they're not cuddling, they're not making out. And even if they're not, Melanie's not going to be thrilled. So I think he needs, if Sincere sleeps outside, I think Melanie sleeps outside, and I think we get back on track. But I'm very excited for the Sunday episode.
Me too. I can't believe that we have to wait 48 hours for another episode. Like, yes, we will get After Sun in between, but like that's not the same.
We'll only get but a clip on After Sun of things to come. So I'm ready for the first look. Let's go.
Literally send it to me right now. Direct Peacock, please. Give us the screener. I know you have footage.
I'm ready. I'll watch half an episode. It's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be music licensed yet. We'll figure it out.
Just send me what you have. I'll let you know how people will feel about it.
I guess outside of that, Kirsten, do you feel like there's anything we missed on this episode or in this stretch?
In the nighttime scene that we got in episode 9 at bedtime, I kind of thought that maybe Kayda and Zach were doing some activities.
I kind of feel like, I don't know if it was hand stuff. It was what?
The hand was under the blanket and things were moving. That's all I'll say.
Like maybe a couple of these couples are engaging in the under the blanket action. I am dying to find out what, and especially like I want to teach Rob about how every season has their metaphors for rounding the bases or whatever freaking ones we've had in the past.
We need to know what it is this year.
I need a new metaphor, and don't let Sincere come up with it.
No. I mean, I do like after the Kenzie one, it did seem like she was talking about how they had such good like bed chemistry, like the Sabrina Carpenter song Bed
Okay.
Chem. And I'm like, if that becomes how they talk about it, I'll actually be living for that.
Yeah, but then we need to pick out like, and maybe this is an activity that we do. We need to pick out 3 other tracks for the bases.
You're right.
We do. We got to pick it out.
You're right. Just I think it's very clear what Juno would be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would love that. Sabrina Carpenter songs for each of the bases.
I would scream, and then they're like playing the song at the bedtime
Yes!
scenes or in freaking the Hideaway. Like, just license the whole album. It's fine.
I mean, it seemed they've already played a couple songs, so
Probably have.
they might have. They already played Juno, actually.
Exactly. Ah, damn. Well, maybe they were telling us already. That's pretty much all I got, though.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, oh, we can't spend the time speculating about Kenzie and then not also speculate about Kayda and Zach.
Sure. No, I definitely had it on my list. I do think that bedtime activities are ramping up, and maybe that's why we are not exploring so much with other people, because they are exploring each other's bodies. So,
and that is a form of exploring.
It's true.
But like, come on, we need to be shuffling the deck a little bit. We need to be getting creative. Like, they need to bring in like 5 bombshells, and they're all, I guess, like souls. Bring someone in for soul, please.
We might have to Casa Amor a little early this year. Like, I don't know what we got to do.
Yeah, no, we'll literally on Sunday night, Casa Amor.
I think it'll be fine. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I'm still having high hopes for the season. I'm still enjoying watching every episode. I'm still enjoying podcasting about it and talking about it. And yeah, I think we covered everything. Is there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I'm all good. I am excited for Sunday's episode. I'm excited to see which of our bets come in, because I feel like we got a lot that are kind of like in limbo right now.
We do. Everything's in limbo. So we'll have to wait and see. But great job to both of us per usual. Scally, if people want to hear anything else from you, where can they find you?
Ooh, myself and Matt Lagori are talking over on the Free Agents podcast, talking about Old School, the Challenge seasons, and many other things. So go check that out. Anything you want outside of that, it's going to be on social media at Brian_Scally, Twitter, Letterboxd, etc. Twitch.tv/bscally. Go check out the bunch. Kirsten, what do you got going on?
Mess Magnets, myself and Sasha Joseph, talking pop culture, celebrity gossip, trending topics, always having a great time over there. As well, you can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What. And the best thing you could do to raise my spirits is go to WeKnowDatingShows.com, subscribe to the YouTube. You could smash the like button on this video if you're watching it. And you can leave 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts for We Know Love Island. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Scally and I will be back after the Tuesday episode to break down the first half of week 3 of Love Island, which feels crazy. Already we're getting into week 3. I actually think probably Casamore will probably happen end of next week.
I think so too.
So that's exciting. Stay tuned to hear all of that. We'll of course be back with Rob to hear his thoughts on week 2. And we will have some other surprises up our sleeves as well that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to announce it at this moment. But thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.